Sorry about the delay. I'd like to call this Hammond Redevelopment Commission meeting to order on this Tuesday, October 16th. It's now 4:40. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence after? Okay, thank you on that. Can we get a roll call on the commissioners?
Soto Presley.
Here.
Kasperky.
Here.
Navejas.
Here.
Myricks.
Here.
Hopperidge.
Here. For the record, all 5 are present. Okay, number 3, declaration of conflict of interest. Number 4, communications.
None were received.
Okay, number 5 are minutes from September 18th, 2018.
Mr. President, I make a motion to accept the minutes for the Redevelopment Commission for September 18th, 2018.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second from the minutes of September 18th, 2018. Is there any questions or discussion on the minutes? Okay, roll call, please.
Soto Presley.
Yes.
Kasperky.
Yes.
Navejas.
Yes.
Myricks.
Yes.
Hopperidge.
Yes, motion passes 5 yes. Okay, number 6, homebound conditional forgivable loan approval. Looks like we have 4 applicants.
Yes, Miss Tiffany Humphrey is here. The other 3 applicants were attending the home buyers class today, and they are supposed to be let out early and come in here by 4:30. They're not here yet, but Miss Humphrey is.
Okay, just have her come forward, just introduce herself, and we just ask the other applicants attend another meeting if they don't make it tonight.
Hello, my name is Tiffany Humphrey.
Hello, Ms. Humphrey. How did you hear about our program?
Through my real estate agent, Yovan Basic.
Okay, I've heard of him. I'm a realtor as well, so I'd like to know.
I'm sorry, I got caught by a train, so I was so nervous.
Are you okay? You okay? Did you have a
Take a breath, you're fine.
What company is the realtor with? What's your, who?
219 Realty.
group? Yeah, it's a small.
Yeah.
Are you a first-time home?
Yes, sir, I am.
Does anyone else have any questions for this applicant?
No.
Okay. Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the homebound forgivable loan approval, and I'm sorry I can't even find my paper.
Oh,
For Tiffany Humphrey at 3040 Crane Place, and for the other 3 applicants with the condition that they attend a meeting in the future.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second for our homebound conditional forgivable loan approval for Ms. Tiffany Humphrey, along with the other 3 applicants, with the condition to attend a future meeting. Can we have a roll call on that, please?
Soto Presley.
Yes.
Kasperky.
Yes.
Navejas.
Yes.
Myricks.
yes.
Hopperidge.
Yes, motion passes 5 yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations, you may be
Congratulations.
excused.
Thank you.
I'm just lost.
Okay, number 7's authorization to advertise for public service programs for the 2019-2020 fiscal year.
Commissioners, I am in the process of preparing our annual CDBG, ESG, home, and Chodo budget. And all this is to ask for authorization to advertise for public services from the public agencies that's in the city. The application process will begin November the 1st through November the 30th.
Mr. President, I move for the authorization to advertise for public service programs for 219-220 fiscal year.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Soto Presley.
Yes.
Kasperky.
Yes.
Navejas.
Yes.
Myricks.
Yes.
Hopperidge.
Yes, motion passes 5 yes. Okay, number 8 is a community housing development organization known as CHOTO, 2018 certification, United Neighborhoods, Inc.
Commissioners, early part of this year, namely probably January, February, we received our 2017 funds from the federal government. We just recently received our 2018 funds, so I need to come back before you to certify United Neighborhoods, Inc. as a CHOTO in the city for those funds. United Neighborhoods, Inc. has definitely demonstrated that they do have the capacity to run the organization. Their track record is phenomenal. They have a number of different housing going up in the city. Their board of directors is 1/3 low income, so that definitely qualifies. Their audit was favorable. So Mr. Dennis Radowski, I invited him to be here if you have any questions about any projects that they have coming up within the CHOTO, but I just want to ask for authorization to approve United Neighborhoods, Inc. as a CHOTO for the 2018 year in the city of Hammond.
I so move.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the community housing development organization known as CHOTO, 2018 certification, United Neighborhoods, Inc. Can we have a roll call on that?
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Tesbricki?
Yes.
Navejas?
Yes.
Myricks?
Yes.
Alpert?
Yes, motion passes 5 yes. Looks like you're up again. Number 9 is an approval of United Neighborhoods, Inc. home project located at 4313 Clark Avenue.
Commissioners, in your package, you should have received information regarding 4313 Clark Avenue that is under United Neighborhoods, Inc. for Rehab. So I want to ask Mr. Dennis Radowski to come forward. He's the executive director, to explain this project.
Welcome, Mr. Radowski.
Commissioners. We have acquired, initially, this project was to be a United Neighborhoods, Inc. project and not funded entirely by United Neighborhoods, Inc. and not reliant on home dollars. However, with the amount of home dollars that has become available to us, we decided, we being us in community development, decided that we would take this and make it a home project or a CHOTO project. And doing that, we reanalyzed the property, and the property is at, again, 4313 Clark. It's basically a 2-story house with a ground level in-law apartment being utilized at the time that it was foreclosed on as a 6-unit. They had chopped it in half. To give you an idea, wiring was going under the basement floor, not through the joist, but under the floor. Found out that we didn't have access to the second floor except through the front. There was somebody had taken out basically the rear access to the second floor. So in hindsight, probably thought it was a better idea to demo the house and rebuild. Problem was the house sits on a 38-foot lot. And that kind of put a damper on the situation until the lot next door, north of it, was picked up by the city at a commissioner's tax sale. There was an excess of $26,000 in real estate taxes due on that lot over the years. So the lot was offered to us by the city at that time in the event that we wanted to build at 4300 Clark. And we agreed to take that property in the event that we were able to build on it. And that encouraged us to go forward and develop some plans on building a new house in that neighborhood rather than trying to rehab the structure that was there. The estimated cost to rehab that property was over $200,000. Yeah, it was over 200,000. We figured, talking to contractors, we could build a roughly a 1,600 square foot, 1,700 square foot house with a garage for $165,000. That would fit the homes in that community. It wouldn't be an extravagant house. It would be a typical of that neighborhood, a ranch, 1,600 square feet with a garage on a double lot.
Yeah, majority of them are bungalow-style ranches in that neighborhood.
It's a very with the exception of a couple houses, ours included, it's a very well-maintained neighborhood. A lot of remodeled houses in that area, even east of Clark.
So by putting the two lots together, now you have an oversized yard?
We'll have, you could do one of two things. I wouldn't suggest that you could put the garage, like most of the garages are, in the back of the lot onto the alley, or you could allow for the garage to be attached to the front of the house.
What's the size of the new lot?
It'll be over, it's over maybe, let's say 75 feet.
The
'Cause it's-
frontage, you said.
Yeah, the frontage, and about 110, 120 feet deep.
So we now own a dilapidated house and a lot next door to each other.
We don't own the lot yet. It's in, I've got an unrecorded deed. I didn't want to make any commitments until I know we could get this going.
But the house is, the house has been taken already? There's
Yes,
nobody in the house?
yes, no.
When do you expect to have the deed for the land?
As soon as I get approval. Well, our board, United Neighborhoods, Inc. board has approved the demolition. So the next step was to come here to see if we could get funds approved through home to build the house there. That being said, then we proceed.
And doing this was help stabilize that community, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You have to drive through it. Depending on what happens, a half a mile north of there, there's I'm sure some of those people that are being displaced on the other side of Gosselin will be looking for a residence to occupy.
South of there.
Pardon? Or south of there, I'm sorry.
And we're gonna put 160 in and estimated value upon completion?
130. I don't know. I mean, that's going to be based on what the market is. You know how that goes. And the market is,
Yeah.
it's climbing, in Hammond anyway.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Mr. President, I make a motion for the approval of the UIN home project located at 4313 Clark Avenue.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of United Neighborhoods, Inc. home project located at 4313 Clark. Can we have a roll call on that?
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Esbricky?
Yes.
Vejas?
Yes.
Myrick?
Yes.
Hopperidge?
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Radowski.
Okay,
Members of the commission, items 10, 11, 12, and 13, I'm going to sort of talk about them globally, and then we'll take them one by one. But we had talked at the last meeting relative to the data center project that is forthcoming. Some exciting developments in terms of moving that project forward. We've ostensibly agreed to a purchase of land and an option agreement for the property, which is item 10, and then an option for some additional property, which is item 11. Those two items you have in your packet, but they're, we're going to ask that you table both items 10 and 11 at this point because they're still, due to the configuration of how everything's going to fit relative to the trail and things like that, we want to make sure that we have it completely set. So at your next meeting, we're anticipating that those items be placed back on the agenda with some minor modifications to what you have in front of you. And I'm happy to answer any questions about what you have. So ostensibly, there was a portion of land that was being purchased by the Redevelopment Commission, and then a portion of the land that the landowner was donating, leaving a remainder piece. And roughly, it was 40 plus or minus acres, that 5 acres was being purchased, and then the remaining portion was being donated, leaving the landowner with like 20-some acres. At that point, we were going to enter into an option agreement that allowed us the right to purchase that property later on, and that's item number 11. Those two documents are in your packet, and certainly I know you've looked at them, but those are the things that there are still, because of the configuration and how things are going to work exactly relative to the trails and some of the other things that are going in there, some of those land, the amount of acreage may change a little bit, and so we want to get that nailed down before we approve it. Moving to number 12, now that's as you know, at your last meeting, you authorized going out for bid on the ground lease. That would be a lease of the portion that we're acquiring to the successful bidder. We published that. We had one bid. The bid opening was yesterday. There was one bidder, and the bidder was essentially the folks from the data center, DX Hammond Opco LLC. You have that 3-ring binder in your packet. The bid amount was $232,000 lease payment annually, which is what we advertised for. We are in the process. They've submitted a form of ground lease for our consideration, and that's sort of in the legal review process as well. So taking these one by one, what I'm asking tonight is that for items number 10 and 11, those be tabled until we get the exact acreage nailed down. And then for number 12, that there be a motion to award the bid to the only bidder, DX Hammond Opco LLC, and that bid be awarded contingent upon the actual acquisition of the land, and secondly, working out the legal parameters of the ground lease. So we want to do those one by one. Let's start with items 10 and 11, and I would just ask that those be tabled.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'm going to read them to table number 10, which is an approval of purchase and donation agreement with Sam Tone Line Development Incorporated for the data center project. We're tabling that, as well as number 11, approval of option agreement with Sam Tone Line Development Incorporated for the data center project. We have a motion to table and second those. Is there any further questions or discussion on the table? Okay, roll call, please.
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Kasperky?
Yes.
Vejas?
Yes.
Myricks?
Yes.
Oppridge?
Yes, motion passes. 5 yes.
Okay, and then for item number 12, we would ask for a motion to conditionally award the ground lease for 400 Indianapolis Boulevard to DX Hammond Opco LLC, conditioned upon the Redevelopment Commission acquiring the land and closing on the land, and then secondly, that the legal review of the proposed ground lease.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have a roll call on that.
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Kasperky?
Yes.
Vejas?
Yes.
Myricks?
Yes.
Oppridge?
Yes, motion passes. 5 yes. Thank you, Attorney Westland.
And we will, once we have the actual ground lease, you'll see the finished product of that. Item number 13, I'm not done yet. right? So.
No.
So this is also part of this data center project, which is pretty cool. The Resolution 12-2018, which amends, we've previously made this area an allocation area, but we had it as an allocation area only for real property. And as part of the discussions with the folks that want to put the data center in, it would be in our best interest as a commission and as a city to also capture personal property. Now, you had a resolution in your packet, and Brian caught some clarifying language primarily in the title of the document so that he could better. Oh, and there's one more thing, and Brian wants to come up and talk. We'll let him come up and talk.
We're gonna let him speak.
But the only change from what you have in your packet is that, and other than what Brian's going to say, is that we changed the title slightly so that as a city we can track so that it matches the original declaratory resolution, and that we can track these items together. So 15 years from now, when someone says, well, when did you amend to include personal property in the allocation area, Brian can go back and, because Brian will still be here, maybe in 30 years, Brian can go back and find the documents and kind of match them together. And then with that, Brian's got his other.
I think this is a technical correction that I just wanted to verify with you, Dave, because you indicated this company DX Hammond OpCo LLC, and is that intended to be the designated taxpayer that's identified in this resolution? Because there's a different name there.
It's both. Yeah, so I mean, it is.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
So if we can make that technical correction of the identification of the tax.
Right, that's okay. I would suggest that.
Thank you. So originally, this title of this resolution was like 2 lines long, and then Brian got his hands on it, and somehow I see now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, about 9 lines long. So if that clarifies it, then,
Only what attorneys do?
yeah, right? And he's not even getting paid by the word.
That's the old one, that's the new one.
I have no questions, if that's what we're waiting for.
So someone just needs to make a motion to approve it.
So we need a motion on this resolution?
Yeah, just a motion on
Yeah.
resolution 2018.
That's right. On, is it 12-2018?
2018.
A motion to approve that resolution clarifying the taxpayer as DX Hammond OpCo LLC.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. There's no further questions or discussion. A roll call, please.
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Esposito?
Yes.
Villegas?
Yes.
Myrick?
Yes.
Aubrey?
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes. All right, number 14 is an approval of proposal for engineering services for the demolition of 6600 Annapolis Boulevard. That's the former Carson's building.
Commissioners, if you look in your packet, you will find a proposal for engineering services for the demolition of 6600 Indianapolis Boulevard, commonly known as the former Carson's building, from Americo Inc. Today, we have John Blosky in the audience. He's at the podium, actually, and he will give you an overview of the proposal, as well as he will speak a little bit on number 15, which is an update on 29 Russell, the asbestos remediation.
Good evening, Commissioners. John Blosky here with Americo Engineering. So the proposal here is for the demolition of the Carson's building, and it includes the pre-demolition asbestos survey, design and procurement bidding processes, and project management. The project management is a not-to-exceed based on the work that's involved during the demolition management of the project. Sometimes it's, depending on the contractor, it's a little easier than otherwise. So that's a proposal for that. And we'll be able to start on that as soon as next week with the demolition survey to identify what needs to be done to tear it down.
Mr. President, I make a motion for the approval of the proposal for engineering services for the demolition of 6600 Indianapolis Boulevard, formerly known as Carson's.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of proposal engineering services for the demolition of 6600 Indianapolis Boulevard, which is formerly known as the Carson's Building. Can we have a roll call on that, please?
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Espricki,
Yes.
Navejas.
Yes.
Nyricks,
Yes.
Hawbridge.
Yes, motion passes 5 yes.
Hey, Commissioners, I'll give you an update on 219 Russell. They had some difficulties removing some of the asbestos material. Sometimes it comes out easy and sometimes it's difficult. They are done with the top 3 floors, and they have started on the second floor. Once the second floor is free of asbestos, we can go in there and show the contractors what needs to be done to build a wall to isolate the Hammond Avenue building from the 219 Russell Street building. It's not a typical building where they build one building next to the other and you have face brick in between that just needs to be cleaned up. There's actually openings in the wall. Some are only plaster walls separating the outside of the buildings. So we had them gut that section. I was just talking to Mr. Smith that in a couple of weeks when they're done with that, I will meet with him and the other team members about going over there and taking a look at that to see how to proceed with being able to tear down, what we need to do with one building in order to tear it down and make the remaining building still look presentable. So if everything works out right, between finishing up the asbestos removal, procuring a contractor to build and isolate the buildings, we should be able to start demolition about mid-December. And that is my report on 219 Russell. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I was going to ask you, so are you saying that, okay, it was connected to another building?
Yes. So what makes this building unique, I'm trying to think, right down here, the Calumet Theater building, remember that on Calumet Avenue here? When we tore that building down, they're not actually connected. The buildings are just like zero lot line, and there's an air gap of a couple of inches in between each building, so you have brick. That's not the case in this building. They actually removed all the face brick between floors 2, 3, and 4, and above the alley, and that's where they joined it. And in some areas, the concrete, the beams and the structural members actually, it's like one building now is what it is. It's all opened up in there. It's not 2 separate buildings where you tear it down and then you have brick that just needs to be cleaned up. It's open. So we were planning on building a wall so that it protects the Hammond Avenue building, which is to remain in place, from the rain and snow, and that people from the Hammond Avenue building don't just walk out and fall out the building.
So then is the Hammond Avenue building, I take it that one was also inspected for the asbestos and it was okay?
Well, just the portion that we were affecting by this demolition, so about 10 feet of that building was inspected, not the entire structure. I think they're only using the first floor, though.
Okay.
So, yeah, as soon as the second floor is free of asbestos, I'll get a hold of the team and we'll take a look and sit down and discuss options for tearing one building down and keeping the other one in a presentable condition.
Okay.
That's just an update. We don't need to move on that, right?
No, just an update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Commissioners, have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you, you as well.
Thank you, Mr. Blosky.
Thank you.
Okay,
I think you have
moving along, number 16. is a determination of compliance with 2010 North Hammond redevelopment plan for the UniFirst project located at 4009-4043 Calumet Avenue.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Robert Brown, and I'm here on behalf of the UniFirst Corporation. They currently have an operation at 4545 Calumet, and they are looking to purchase and develop the property basically on the northeast corner of Calumet and 141st Street. They're looking to expand their facility so they can increase production, and their current facility restricts that. So they are looking to invest about $12 to $14 million on the property, construct a 60,000 square foot industrial laundry facility on that corner.
That's good. Something nice and new in the neighborhood is always good. How much bigger or how much smaller is the old facility? You need that much more room?
I don't know the square footage of the existing facility. Right now, they are running at 1.5 shifts just in order to get out the production they have. In the new facility, that they would be able to drop down to 1 shift and still bring on, they're about 95 employees right now, and they look to increase that about 10%, and then as market grows, more than that, so.
Commissioner Kasbricki, I know that the Department of Economic Development has been working very closely with UniFirst because they really want to expand where they're currently located. They're sort of landlocked because they're right by the tracks. So we've been working with them for like 2 years, trying to find various sites for them. So I know that they wanted to expand their existing operations, but they just have no room for potential growth at their current operation. So like I said, they've had several sites that they've looked at. Some of them have come really close to the finish line and just didn't work out. So that's why we're really in favor of this site.
What was in that spot before?
Only by aerial imagery. I'm not from the area, I'll admit that, but it looked like a gas station, roughly 2005, and there also appears to be a vehicle maintenance facility just north of, right on the corner was a gas station, and just north of that looked like a.
Thank you. I was just trying to get my bearings.
Commissioner, I think that the Director of City Planning, Brian Poland, will be coming up soon to give his report, so I'm sure he'll give you a thorough background of the site and the subject parcel.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Robert. Welcome, Mr. Poland, again.
I love these intros that you always give me. Yes, it was previously a gas station, and to the north is like a self-storage facility. There's probably been miscellaneous other things, but the property's been vacant for
A long time.
30 years, in that range, I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so you're familiar with what they propose to do. UniFirst Corporation is formerly known as Arrow. Arrow is the one that's located between the 2 railroad tracks on Calumet. This property is located in the North Hammond redevelopment area, and the most recent plan that applies to it was the one that was adopted in 2010. And there isn't anything that's really specific to the parcel that's in the plan, but there's some general goals and principles that talks about appropriate landscaping and buffering on the major arterial streets, which would be Calumet and 141st, and that the truck routes are made sure that there's no truck routes that would negatively affect residential and recreational commercial areas. Since this is located just adjacent to the toll road intersection, and it's on Calumet Avenue, which is already a U.S. route and a major truck route, so there's really no expectation of any negative impacts in the residential neighborhoods. And then the plan also promoted light industrial or business park development, and that phrase starts to become very important when we talk about the zoning. So currently, the property is Zone C4, General Commercial. The type of use that they are proposing is not something that is permitted in that zoning district. But we have discussed with them that we think the appropriate remedy is to go through a variance of use process through the Board of Zoning Appeals and the City Council. There are some issues with that. Within, I think just 1 year ago, the property was subdivided into 4 lots by the current owner, and they're also, so that has to be addressed. And they're also buying an adjacent parcel to add to this, so there's going to be some re-subdivision issues and dealing with access easements and utility easements. We have reviewed the site plan preliminarily. We don't anticipate any, developmental variances at this point. So the recommendation is that we're basically saying that the development of the facility is compliant with the goals and objectives in the 2010 amendment, and recommend that the Redevelopment Commission make a determination that the proposed UniFirst project is in compliance with that plan, subject to the approval of the BZA and the City Council for the variance of use, the final review of the site plan by the appropriate departments, and then I'll add a third one, the re-subdivision of the property.
I like the provisions kind of in the, overview here of the truck routes being recognized and the landscaping and lighting, because I know the neighborhood association is going to be very diligent on watching that. So.
Yeah, I think if you really look at the plans that they presented, at least maybe, I'm hoping it's in there, but in the materials that we received, they have shown us examples of their construction elsewhere in the country, and it's a very attractive building for this kind of this light industrial type use.
Further questions?
No.
Mr. President, I therefore move for the staff recommendation of the Redevelopment Commission to make determination that the proposed UniFirst project is in compliance with the 2010 North Hammond redevelopment plan, subject to the approval of BZA and City Council for variance of use, and the final review of site plan by appropriate departments.
And the third one I added for the re-subdivision of the property.
And item 3.
Second.
Okay, that's re-subdivision of the property for number 3. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further questions or discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Espricky,
Yes.
Navejas.
Yes.
Yrix,
Yes.
Upridge.
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes. Thank you. All right, number 17 is our bills, register of claims.
Mr. President, I make a motion to pay the register of claims for September 24th, 2018 through October 5th, 2018 for register of claims R56611 through R56641.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the register of claims dating September 24th, 2018 through October 5th, 2018, claims R56611 through claim R56641. Is there any further questions or discussion on these claims? Okay, then roll call on the claims.
Soto Presley,
Yes.
Espricky,
Yes.
Navejas.
Yes.
Yrix,
Yes.
Upridge.
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes. Okay, number 18 is new and unfinished business. I think we have some items tonight.
I'll do, you can do yours first.
We have our 3 applicants for homebound. They did show up. Mr. Richmond, Mr. Wilson, and Mr. Lopez.
Okay, well, when they come forward, thank you for making the effort to come. We did approve you, but we'd just like you to introduce yourself.
Okay, Lopez George.
And how did you hear about our program?
Kind of went through my sister as a resident.
Oh, okay. And the next gentleman behind?
Your Honor, thank you.
You are.
John Wilson,
And how did you hear about our program?
my girlfriend's mom.
Wow. And last but not least, sir.
People are talking.
Yeah.
Shantae Richmond,
And Mr. Richmond, how did you hear about our program?
from my lender.
Your lender?
Yes.
Okay. And we just like to know, how the people hear about the program.
And everyone's a first-time home buyer?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. You may be excused if you like. We know you had a work session earlier, and appreciate you making the effort to come. All right, still on new unfinished business. Whoever wants to jump in. Mr. Poland, you're up again.
All right. Everybody, I think you were handed out the document that is referencing the Marina District Development Agreement and the PUD. Everybody has that document?
Yes.
Okay. This is something that kind of just came up today, at least brought to my attention. The memo I hear goes into the background of it, but basically you have a development agreement with the Marina District Development LLC to develop the property at 5th Avenue and Annapolis Boulevard. That was adopted in 2014. Within that document, there were specified uses that were permitted to be on the property and uses that were specifically prohibited from being on the property. And there was also a statement that says that any other uses that the Redevelopment Commission would have to agree to them. So what the developer wants to do is he has in what is referred to as Lot 3, which is, if you can picture where Walmart is and where the new 5th Avenue kind of makes that curve at Annapolis Boulevard, there's a multi-tenant building right kind of at that southeasterly corner. So within that, he wants to open, or working with a tenant that would be a dialysis center, and then, of course, their related business operations and medical operations. The medical uses or dialysis centers are not specifically mentioned in the current development agreement, so therefore the request is that if you would agree to accept this as one of the possible uses in the area based on that category. It's one of those other uses as approved by the Redevelopment Commission.
Okay, so you can go to
I know we've approved dialysis centers elsewhere. I mean, on State Line, I think, was the last one that came before us.
Yeah, I mean, part of it too is that this is also a matter for the Plan Commission because it's not specifically written the way in the PUD ordinance either, because the PUD ordinance is based on the development agreement. So we have to do both Redevelopment Plan Commission to approve this use that isn't currently specified. But normally a dialysis center would occur in pretty much any commercial district.
Yeah, so I guess they can go to dialysis and then go shopping.
I suppose they could do that.
Yes.
So upon our approval still has to go to the zoning or?
Plan Commission has to agree to it.
I think it's a positive, filling of a unit.
Good with
Where are you reading down here?
If you read under the word recommendation, the first two lines, that's what I'm looking for.
On the record.
I'll-
Ignore the Plan Commission
Mr. President,
paragraph.
I move to agree that the dialysis center and related medical business offices is permitted under the Marina District Development.
Agreement. Development agreement.
He wants you to say agreement. He wants you to say development agreement.
Development agreement.
Second.
I read the other two lines. That's okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second that the redevelopment commission agree that the dialysis center and related medical business offices is permitted use under the development agreement. We have a roll call on that, please.
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Casperky?
Yes.
Navejas?
Yes.
Myrick?
Yes.
Poppers?
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes.
Thank you.
We're killing some trees today.
Yeah.
And we held a work session today regarding the much-needed rehab repairs for 6333 Garfield Avenue. And based on that work session, we're asking that you authorize us to proceed with rehab assistance for homeowner at 6333 Garfield.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have a roll call on that.
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Casperky?
Yes.
Navejas?
Yes.
Myrick?
Yes.
Poppers?
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes.
Thank you.
Commissioners, if you look in your packet, you'll see the qualifications for various professional services. You granted permission to advertise, and then we did receive some bids for various professional services. And you have, God bless you, that you have copies of the submissions that were open. And then staff has had an opportunity to review those submissions, and staff has recommendations for the 6 professional services that were advertised. So at the time, I can go through each individual.
Well, you can read off. Yeah, do them individually.
I'll do them individually. So the first one is for the housing services consultant, and staff has reviewed the statement of qualifications submitted by firms proposing to provide technical advice and assistance to the Hammond Redevelopment Commission, and makes the following recommendations. William Kubel, principal from USONA Development, and his contract will be for 2 years for an amount not to exceed $40,000. Mr. Kubel has provided effective and efficient service to the Hammond Redevelopment Commission for years, and he has a proven record of professionalism and integrity. And Mr. Kubel was here earlier for the session, and so you've had an opportunity to meet with him on that and other projects.
Mr. President, I move for the approval of the housing services consultant as William Duval.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have a roll call.
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Casperky?
Yes.
Navejas?
Yes.
Myrick?
Yes.
Poppers?
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes.
The second is the HUD and IDIS consultant. Staff has had the opportunity to review the submissions, and they recommend William Kubel, the principal of USONA Development, LLC. The contract will be for a period of 2 years with an amount not to exceed $50,000. And once again, Mr. Kubel has a proven record of integrity, professionalism, and he's always very willing to assist the Redevelopment Commission on various projects.
These aren't in order. Mr. President, I move for the approval of Mr. Kubal as HUD and IDIS consultant, as per staff recommendation.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call?
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Casperky?
Yes.
Navejas?
Yes.
Myrick?
Yes.
Poppers?
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes.
The third would be the appraisers, the professional services contracts for appraisals. Staff has had an opportunity to review the bid submissions with the following recommendation. Kovacevic and Company, Martinez Charmand and Associates, and Vail Appraisal Group. The contract will be for 2 years with a not-to-exceed fee limitation based on the particular requirements of individual projects. Staff believes that by selecting three appraisals, this will provide the Hammond Redevelopment Commission and its staff the ability to view different approaches to appraisals. So we get a better price when we have 3 different appraisals. So a lot of times what we will do is we will call and we will try to get quotes from the various appraisals, and we'll go with the best price for the appraisal. And most of the time when we have an appraisal, either to sell property or to purchase property, we have to have 2 appraisals. We get the average of 2 appraisals.
Still me on. Mr. President, as per staff recommendation, I move for the approval of appraisers Kovacevic and Company, Martinez, Charmant and Associates, and Vail Appraisal Group.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have a roll call on that.
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Tesbricki?
Yes.
Rivas?
Yes.
Myricks?
Yes.
Hopperidge?
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes.
Right, Financial Consultants is next. Staff has had an opportunity to review the statement of qualifications, and staff recommends the following: Cinder and Company, LLC, and Short Elliott Henderson, Inc., otherwise known as SEH, with Dan Bowditch. The contract will be for a period of 2 years with a not-to-exceed fee limitation based on the particular requirements of individual projects.
Mr. President, I move for the approval of financial consultants, plural, Cinder and Company, LLC, and Short Elliott Henderson, Inc., also known as SEH.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call on that one?
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Tesbricki?
Yes.
Rivas?
Yes.
Myricks?
Yes.
Hopperidge?
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes.
The fifth recommendation would be for environmental consultants. Staff has had an opportunity to review the bid submissions and recommends the following: Americo Engineering, Enviroforensics, and Tetra Tech. We also forwarded the recommendations, or the statement of qualifications, to the Director of Environmental Management, Ron Novak, and he had an opportunity to review, and he also was in favor of the recommendations. The contract will be for a period of 2 years with a not-to-exceed fee limitation based on the particular requirements of individual projects. We also believe that by selecting 3 consultants, we will have the ability to view different approaches to solving environmental issues, as well as comparable and competitive prices for individual projects.
Mr. President, I move for the approval, as per staff, of environmental consultants, Americo Engineering, Enviroforensics, and Tetra Tech.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call on that one?
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Tesbricki?
Yes.
Rivas?
Yes.
Myricks?
Yes.
Hopperidge?
Yes, motion passes, 5 yes.
And the last and final would be for the redevelopment attorney. Staff has had an opportunity to review the statement of qualifications, and it is staff's recommendation that we award to David Westland of Westland and Bennett PC. The contract will be for a period of 2 years with terms consistent with the existing agreement. And Attorney Westland he currently serves as the current redevelopment attorney and has a proven record of professionalism as well as integrity.
I think we should discuss this,
If you want to table that till the next meeting,
along with items 10, 11, and 12. Mr. President, as per staff recommendation, I move for the approval of redevelopment attorney David Westland and Bennett, PC.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Tesbricki?
Yes.
Rivas?
Yes.
Myricks?
Yes.
Hopperidge?
Yes, motion passes. 5 yes. Congratulations on our professional services. Well deserved.
Thank you so much, Commission.
It's an inside joke. As long as you keep recommending gold curtain rods, you know.
I understand. And hot dogs at the,
There was no hot dogs at the opening, there was no hot dogs.
There was cake.
I believe there's some now, Commissioner. I believe they have some now.
I do have one item of new business, and it deals with the couple items you tabled, along with a potential development agreement for the data center. To keep this thing sort of moving, and I mentioned it before at your next meeting, I didn't say when the next meeting would be. The request would be that we hold a special meeting next Tuesday to approve items 10 and 11, as well as potentially approve a development agreement. I would request that we push that back to like 5 o'clock. I have a 3:30 meeting over in the federal courthouse, so I don't want to like have you guys waiting on me, but if we could, because your next meeting's not till November 8th, right? So like that's almost 3.5 weeks. And in order to keep this project sort of on task, we really need to have a special meeting on the 23rd. And so if there's no objection, I would ask that you do it at 5 o'clock as opposed to 4:30. I know Africa's going to be out of town, so you get me.
So we're calling a special meeting for the 23rd.
At 5 o'clock.
At 5 o'clock?
If
At your office with hot dogs?
I will bring hot dogs.
Well,
If we get everything approved and signed, sealed, and delivered on the 23rd, I think Mr. Dockich will bring the hot dogs. So,
I don't have a problem with that, but we have one commissioner who will not be able to attend. She'll be on her honeymoon.
Next week.
oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
As long as we have a quorum.
As long as we have a quorum, and I know sometimes the 4:30 is tough to get to anyway. I just don't want to have you guys waiting around for me since
good
Africa
for 5
won't be here.
5 o'clock on the,
I should be fine.
It should be a really short meeting. It should just be those couple of items, maybe 15, 20 minutes, but if we could do it at 5 next Tuesday, it'd be great.
Can I just check one thing real quick?
Can I request reminders as Raquel's been giving me? Cynthia, sorry.
I said, who's Raquel?
I'm sorry, we've been here a long time.
So that's next Tuesday, the 23rd.
That could be a little problem for me. I do have a very important meeting to attend at 4 o'clock, so it's Maryville, Crown Point area. I mean, I'm anticipating being done in 45 minutes to an hour, but then that'll put me right at the 5 o'clock window.
Yeah, you won't make it back from Maryville.
Can we do it Monday?
Yeah, can we do it Monday or Wednesday?
Let me look at the 20th. I cannot do Monday.
Yeah, Wednesday or Thursday I'm open.
Do we have 4 people that could do Wednesday at 4:30?
I can.
I should be fine.
Yeah, I can too.
Okay, why don't we do Wednesday, the 24th at 4:30 then?
Okay, so we need to make a,
If the room is available.
Oh, okay. When's Mayor's Night Out? Well, it's this Wednesday.
That's
Tonight.
this Wednesday.
No, it's tomorrow. What, Mayor's Night
tomorrow.
Out is
It's tomorrow, yeah.
Okay,
Tomorrow
I
at
just want to make
Scottsboro.
sure there wasn't a conflict in that regard. Okay.
Okay.
So, Wednesday, October 24th, 4:30. Is that a go then?
That sounds good.
Okay. Do you need a motion for that meeting then?
Yes, please.
Mr. President, I make a motion for the approval of a special meeting for Wednesday, October 24th at 4:30 PM.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for a special meeting, October 24th, 4:30 PM. Can we have a roll call, please?
Soto Presley?
Yes.
Tesbricki?
Yes.
Navejas?
Yes.
Myricks?
Yes.
Hawbridge?
Yes. Motion passes 5 yes. Can we just, friendly reminder, just make sure we get a notice on that? Okay, is there any more new and unfinished business?
No, I think we've had enough tonight.
Okay. Well, we're here now, so. And then a friendly reminder, November 8th, meeting is on a Thursday. Okay, that concludes new and unfinished business. We'll move to number 19, public comment. If anybody wants to come forward, you have 3 minutes.
As today's topics were of a lot of knocking down things and fixing things, I believe the Redevelopment Commission owns a building, an iconic building in North Hammond called Polish Vets, which is coming down in the next couple days, I'm told, and for us Polanders, it's a sad day. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention.
That's quite all right. Okay, public comment is closed. Number 20.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Can you all signify by? Ayes have it. Meeting is adjourned.